please.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. You have to listen to me before you get that 33. So hopefully it's not so painful for you. Okay, so let me just share with you our analyst story or analyst journey. What we think of HRnet from an investor's point of view. So this is not from the corporate point of view, from an investor's point of view, how we started to initiate coverage, what we will explain to you, the business model, and a slight history of what happened to the company. And I think that, of course, we cannot just paint all such a beautiful picture. We also have to discuss and debate certain issues, not really issues, but some talking points around the company. So the beginning, in a galaxy. Okay, so in the beginning, we started initiation of this company in July 2021. So of course, the key thing was when we as a research house, when you initiate coverage on a company, it takes a lot of resources. You spend a lot of time in the company. Got to build a model. So we have to be pretty sure before we initiate. So what attracted us to the company? So of course, the first one is asset light. You notice as because they don't really use a lot of capital. I think the balance sheet is only probably 4 million of assets, fixed assets, a few computers, and then there you go, you make 50 million. So how fun that is. Of course, there's also the high ROE. Is on paper, it's about 14%. Largest recruitment. I think the slide deck. It's not the final one, but okay. But never mind, let's run with it. The ROE is actually 14%, and why we took up 132 is because they have a lot of cash in this company. They are almost like around half the market cap is like cash, about 300 million cash, and it has consistently been having cash all along. It is the most profitable agency in Singapore. There's a lot of high barriers to scale. We all hear about recruitment companies. You can open a two-man shop, but can you scale it up to 700 consultants that are working for you daily and looking for opportunities and so forth? And of course, the other attraction why we like the company was the net cash balance sheet, always hovering 300 million, and we'll show you a chart later. And of course, the attractive valuations. I think most of the peers are trading like 20 times. They are trading about 14. We like to rightly or wrongly strip out the cash, and then you take that out because it's like penalizing the company. So we want to value the company on its core earnings. So we usually take it like 11 times, which is really very cheap. And that's why we strip out the cash and so forth. We'll explain to you a bit later. Okay, so there's a bit of typos here, but never mind. Okay, so in terms of the revenue, so when it comes to the revenue, there are basically two parts of the business. So there's professional recruitment, which I think most of us will know, like headhunting. Maybe someone calls you, we got this executive role for you. And of course, there's also flexible staffing, which is a bit more different. So this is probably a business that not very front-facing for many of us. So flexible staffing is where they temp jobs, but the difference is they actually pay the wages. So you want to play in this game, you need a big balance sheet, and they have usually they have almost 100 over million of working capital to play without even touching the cash. And they also split by geographies. There are usually three parts to the business. They have North Asia, Southeast Asia, and also Singapore, and by sector. So they cover a lot of sectors. So that's the strength of the company. They're not skewed towards any one particular sector. They're in finance and IT and so forth. The other part of it is so now we know the revenue, how it works. How much they bill, you just use a rough number, like 20% of a person's salary for a year or monthly. Just use that as a number, because you want to understand how they actually price the product. The other thing is the cost. So having understood how revenue is generated, you want to know what's cost. Cost is largely just people. About 70–80% is all people. There's of course other expenses, which is rental and IT. And it is a very asset-light business. You only need 3–4 million, good to go. You make 50 million one year. And the key thing is the barrier to scale, which is 18 cities and 10 geographies. So it is easy to start small, but you can't get that 700 consultants working for you looking for opportunities, and you can cross-fertilize. That means if there's an opportunity that is sourced from Singapore, but the role is in Thailand, if you're a small company, you can't get the opportunity, whereas for them, they have the track record and they have the networking to get that in place. And of course, it's also the procedures to energize 700 people every day. So it's not when you have you're not a factory where you need to build a machine. This is a business where you need the right skill, the right support to energize 700 people every day. I mean, you'll ask them later because I'm not energized every day, but I'm not sure how they do it. But you have to energize 700 consultants to look for opportunities and drive the business for you. So the key is the intangibles. The driver to the business is not how much fixed assets you put in, how many computers. It's the intangibles, which I can only tell you at the surface is the co-ownership scheme is one of the critical, where you get a stake in the company and you get a part of the profit. And if you want to exit, the unique part of the model is there is a route for most of these co-owners to exit. That means you build up the business, you have ownership in the business. You're not just a simple employee, and you have a route to exit. Of course, the other part is technology. When you're dealing with the flexible staffing, especially, you're dealing with hundreds of recruitments. There's the taxes to handle, there's salaries to take care, the guy is absent, the individual has sick leave. So you can't do it manually with Excel. You need a really deep-rooted technology. So that's the other skill that they have. And of course, shared services means that they have a lot of consultants which can't be spending their time doing accounting or checking how much comms I got for this year. So they have that procedures and process in the background. So this is an intangible that's always very difficult, not like a factory for us to kind of visualize and so forth. The next is basically the share price performance. So if you look at the share price performance since we initiated, the stock rebounded sharply when post-pandemic. Since then, it's been kind of consolidating. We think there's a re-rating coming underway too, partly because, as we all heard, there's a EQDP money coming down. So that's helping a lot of all the small mid-cap stocks, benefiting them. Of course, it's also their effort to engage the investors like some of these platforms that we're having right now, so that you can get to better understand and treasure the business. Okay, the other part here is just to give you a flavor of the earnings and cash flows. So the strength of the business is always the ability to generate free cash flow. That's why you just let the long-term economics of the company run, and it will take care of itself. So if you look at the blue line, that's cash flow. So free cash flow basically, after getting cash from the business, maybe buying a bit of capex, maybe 1 or 2 computers, and what is left for shareholders. So if you look at the blue line, it's always been hovering above the dividends. So even though they generate lots of cash flow, but they don't actually even tap all of it for dividends, and they still have that 300 million cash intact. So the dividends, in a nutshell, is sustainable because they have more than enough cash every year to pay for the dividends, which I'll show you a chart. And the other thing to note is the profit. We call it adjusted PATMI to remove kind of the one-offs. But the thing is, the profit resembles very close to the cash. So it's just a measurement of quality rather than accounting profits, which may or may not be actually cash. But theirs is very tight close. So you get a sense of the quality of the profit when cash flow is quite when it hovers very close to it. There's a bit of volatility because sometimes payables might come in and out. The other part is the contribution. So as we mentioned earlier, there are 2 parts to the business. There's the headhunting, which they call it professional recruitment. And there's also flexible staffing, where the temp roles. So from this slide, if you just look at gross profit contributors, you will notice that flexible staffing is on the structural, it has been growing every year. And whereas the softness is coming from professional recruitment. I think it's not unique to them. It's across multiple companies and competitors. But the segment that we feel is a structural uplift, which is flexible staffing, because of the balance sheet that they have, 300 million. So if you want to play against them, you need to also carry like 300 balance sheet. At the same time, it's about the ability to transport this business model into other countries. So of course, they're very strong in Singapore. The key now is they're moving this into Indonesia, moving it into North Asia. So this is, we think it's on a structural uplift. Okay, this is just the volume, but this is just to reinforce where the two segments that are performing well. And as you can see, permanent placement has been coming off. Again, it's just the whole industry is facing this. And maybe at the technology chat later, you can ask them more questions. Hopefully not me. Then the next part is the contractor. So that again is the flexible staffing that is growing. If you look at dividends, so if you notice, they have been consistently paying dividends. If you look at the blue bar, every year they've always been paying, and if you just cumulatively, they have paid almost at least close to almost 30 cents since the IPO time. So that is one thing you're going to get from them because of the strong balance sheet and the strong operating cash flows a year. Okay, so this is the debate, which I won't be here alone. I think I can't be debating myself, so I'm going to get HR's CFO Jennifer to come along and also address some of these. These are the usual questions that analysts we will ask the company, and I would like to invite Jennifer on stage just to kind of, we have a quick Q&A before we open it up to the rest.
I'm going to sit down, right?
Yeah.
You want to hear from the person?
Yeah, okay. Okay, before we start, let me just go through my latest report, then we will go through. So my latest report, the latest first half results that came out, we had an accumulate rating. The results was within expectations. There was a bit of boost from the government grants, but the key thing for us was the North Asia rebounded, and also that's our target price. And one of the change in strategy for HRnet to resume on a stronger growth trajectory is to move into senior executive roles, which I think indirectly probably this will be something Jennifer will address. Of course, the dividend yield is strong, fully backed by cash. Actually, they don't want to touch the cash to pay the dividends. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the debate, which it's so that I don't speak to myself. Okay, so the first thing that we normally ask HRnet is always growth. I mean, like all small mid-cap, we always want to know growth. So let me put you in the spot here, Jennifer. So where are the sources of growth? Okay. I like to stand it.
Relax. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. The night is still young. I'm very happy to be back in the stock exchange. This is my 5th time here. The first time, you remember, was IPO in 2017. And then pre-COVID, we had 2 AGMs that were held here. And then 4 months ago, PhillipCapital invited us to their 50th anniversary and strike the gong again here. So this is my 5th time. Thank you, Paul, for sharing your journey of getting to know us as a professional analyst over the last 4 years. Every quarter, this guy will come and kacau me. And as usual, he will ask me burning questions. So your first question is always,
let me think, growth.
Always chasing me for growth. Okay, so your first question, just now you already display on the screen, I have to answer bopian. Economy. I would talk about short to medium term growth. Okay. I think there are 3 points that I want to share today. The first source of growth would be the senior executive search. So you remember first half, we say that within the recruitment pyramid, there are 3 segments. The top segment, which is the senior executive search, that grew by 19%. I'm very proud and very happy to share with you that even as of now, that trend is continuing. We are seeing a lot of trophy cases that have been closed. So that's the source of growth. The other source of growth is what Paul has been talking about, flexible staffing that has been steadily growing since 2019, when we first set up Recruit First Taiwan. And since then, we have cultivated whole new teams totaling 89 people on the ground with 3,200 contractors. So that's a very big number for a business that was set up in 2019. And then in Jakarta, I think Adeline told this story before, right in the middle of COVID 2020, we set up Recruit First Indonesia in Jakarta. And today we have 69 people more than 2,500 contractors. So just between these two units alone, we are talking about more than 5,700 contractors and still adding. So in Taiwan, we're still adding Hsinchu, we're adding Kaohsiung, and possibly moving to Taichung as well. And you will always ask me, which sector? So in tandem with the topic that we have today, and that is why we chose the topic AI, IT and technology is still our fastest growing sector right now. Whether we're talking about AI related business or applications or company looking for people who are conversant with AI as a skill. Okay, so that aspect is growing. One more thing that we have not talked about a lot in the past is a new source of recurring revenue stream. Octomate, one of our leaders, Zoe, you will see her later on. She's actually running this business called Octomate. And Octomate has just secured quite a few substantial recurring contracts with certain government bodies. So we'll talk about that more. And those are projects to help organizations and even some government departments to streamline the workforce and workflow management. Right. Happy with my short-term and medium-term answer?
Yeah, I got even shorter, like few months, like I just keep.
Have some patience. Results coming out in February.
Okay, thanks. You got longer term ones to.
Oh, you're very greedy. Okay, longer term. Longer term, I must say, we have what we call the ingredients to the secret sauce. Why is it that we are able to run this business for 33 years and have such resilient profits so as to be able to distribute good dividends every year? I think the secret ingredient are in three key points. The first point is really our regional network. We have a regional platform of 18 cities where we operate more than 40 business units of various brands, nearly 20 brands. And that, you see that the latest setup that we have is actually in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. And this is a powerful network where people collaborate, and there is a lot of what we call cross-border fertilization for clients, for candidates, and for consultants. Second secret ingredient is our co-ownership. We have 45 co-owners, business leaders who are on the ground running the businesses. They own a stake of the business that they operate. And you would have read from the last 2 weeks' announcements. We had 4 announcements that went out. One of them was the admission of 2 new co-owners, Tina Shen and Tom Tang, as co-owners of our People Search Shanghai business. So that really adds power to the executive search, especially senior executive search business going on in Shanghai. And we also announced 3 awards that we obtained. So HRnet Group was awarded gold winner of the best managed companies by Deloitte Private for 2025. That's the fourth year in a row. We were also awarded Grade A accreditation for our 4 Taiwan business units. So our Taiwan unit was first set up in 1998. And 3 of the 4 recruitment brands actually received 8 consecutive awards of Grade A accreditation. And the latest one, which I mentioned just now, Recruit First Taiwan, actually received their 5th consecutive Grade A accreditation. So many awards. And one last one I have to mention, Recruit First Singapore received the Tripartite Alliance Award for 2025 for having fair and progressive employment practices. So that's quite a lot of assurance on the infrastructure that we have to preserve the quality of work that we have in the organization. And finally, not forgetting, and relating to the theme that we have today is technology. Technology is a very strong backbone for us to be able to process so many contractors in our midst and to be able to ensure consistency in the standards that we deliver. Yes.
Maybe for the rest of the crowd to appreciate, maybe can you give an example of a cross-fertilization, maybe just the benefit, example of the skill that the benefit of the skill.
Right. Cross-fertilization, just now I mentioned there are 3 dimensions. I call it the 3 C's. The first form of cross-fertilization sounds like an orchid plant, is it? Yeah. Client referral. So we have client referral across the region for local consultants in the respective country to do their search. So a lot of companies, especially those in Ang Mo countries, they see that Singapore is a good market. They will just do a lot of search. Actually, it's not quite legal. But for us, we have local teams in the respective countries to do their own search. So even for our Ho Chi Minh City new business unit, 50% of our assignments today come from regional referrals from our regional colleagues within the group. Then you talk about the second C. The second C will be talking about candidates. Our candidates today comprise a lot of candidates who are regional candidates. So sometimes our clients, when they are looking for a particular candidate, there is actually no such person that fits the bill. But based on our market intelligence and our know-how, we are able to influence them to be more open in terms of relaxing their criteria and accept candidates who are located elsewhere to do the same job. So that's cross-regional fertilization for candidates. And then the last one would be consultants within our internal talent bank. Every half a year, we have Peter, our founding chairman, and Daisy, our chief people officer, together with our business leaders, business unit by business unit, we would actually examine who are the people that can be deployed elsewhere that is in line with their business as well as their personal needs.
Okay, I think we have 1 minute left. So I'll quickly run to the main one that everyone's eyeballing, which is your use of your cash out.
The cash pile that we have, 300 million, very simply, about $120 million is actually reserved for our working capital. So if you look at the P&L that we have, you need about 3 months of working capital to fund the contractors' payroll, because we will pay the payroll of the contractors upfront, take 5 days to send out invoice. Clients will take 60 days to pay. Sometimes they drag a little bit and it could go up to as much as 90 days. So you do need that cash flow to fund. And on top of that, there will be situational demand that gives rise to extra cash that is needed. For example, bonus payments, for example, special or big projects that we bidded that will require the cash. Then we have $10 million that I always reserve for share buybacks in case, there's dip in the share price that goes below our, what we consider fair value. And the remaining 170 million that I will reserve for strategic acquisitions. We never want to be at the mercy of friends or bankers. So we always keep this cash because you never know when a good business comes along that is right for our acquisition and integration. But it is not passive waiting. We are constantly evaluating possibilities and opportunities. So we want to be at the right place, right time when it comes.
Thanks. I'm not sure, are we going to get questions from the... okay. I think we've hit our time limit. I think thanks so much, Jennifer, for addressing almost the technology question. We'll probably leave it to the panel later. But anyway, thanks so much,
Okay.
Jennifer.
Thank you, Paul.
I'll call you later. I'll call you if in January. Okay, thanks everyone. Yeah.
So we'll now move on to the next section. The next section is about humanizing work in the age of AI. Before I introduce the speaker for the day, I'm going to say something. 33 years ago, our chairman here started this business with a telephone, a phone book, with some cash from selling a gold bar, and a car, and a piece of property. Wow. Okay. 22 years ago, I joined this company when the newspaper ads were replaced by job portals, LinkedIn, and so on. But headhunters still roaming around. Today, everybody talks about ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Gemini, Microsoft Pilot, to do research, to write reports, to write CV, to do job matching. AI is no longer ignorable. How does AI affect the recruitment process? And I want to invite a very special person, Jessie Liu. Jessie is our practice leader at HRnet 1, which is our brand for senior executive search. Jessie, please come on stage. Jessie has been with us for the last 10 years. How much have you grown?
So much. Like 20 years.
Yes. She's been doing regional executive search since 10 years ago. I first met her in Hong Kong, although she started off with us in Taiwan. Then she moved to Hong Kong, and then now she's based in Singapore. Jessie, at the last count, you placed 117 candidates in executive roles, including vice presidents, general managers, C-suite roles with companies operating across Asia. This means you would have interviewed thousands of candidates.
Close to 6,000 actually.
6,000. Wow. Please share with us what you see on the ground as you interact with companies, decision makers, and senior candidates. What are the challenges and opportunities that you see AI bringing us? Jessie, over to you.
Thank you. All right, this is the fun begins. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Are we having a great time? Or are we still awake? Okay, so it's the after hours, so let's keep it light but real. Since I've talked to 6,000 people for the past 10, 11 years, and this year alone, probably about 500 people, and majority of them are Singaporean. Okay, so as we approaching the end of 2025, if you look back this year, and you look ahead, and you look around the people around you, do you feel very excited about the future? We're here to talk about the future today, but if we're being honest, the future doesn't always feel exciting. Am I right? If you open the news, okay. More often, it feels uncertain and unpredictable. That's why I call it this anxious era. I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's just the energy that I sense from the market. But maybe I'm wrong, so let's check with the floor. Is there anyone feel super hopeful and super excited? Only Peter Singh. Okay. Right. So tonight I want to unpack 3 things. Why Singapore is feeling anxious than ever. Why AI is quietly changing the way we work, and how companies, including us at HRnet 1, are rehumanizing how we see talent. Okay, are we ready? Some of the reason that is causing the anxiety, the uncertainty of the economy, the layoffs in Singapore, fewer roles being created, or the roles being created but don't look like the roles that we have done before, right? To make sense of it, we need to understand what is cyclical and structural. Does anyone know what is cyclical and structural unemployment? You get a second free dinner. No? Okay. Cyclical means when the economy slows down, the company pause, hire, or even cut costs, lay off people. But when things recover, they bring the same jobs back. Okay. Structural is different. Means even when the economy recovers, the job they don't return. Not because the business is bad, it's because the work itself has changed. Technology replaced task. This is more like a delete plus redesign, right? So this is where we need to reskill, right? The truth is we are not in the slowdown. We're in the structural shift where jobs are changing faster than people we can adapt. Okay. So this will lead to the third topic I want to share, AI. But before we go into AI, let's look some facts here. So in Singapore, the layoffs before 2022 is in between 6,000 to 8,000. After 2022, for 3 years in a row, guess what? Double. 12,000 to 14,000. And those jobs are not coming back. There will be more jobs created, but the skill set might be different, right? And here's the job availabilities in the market is declining, right? We need to have more patience. You will experience long search cycles, delay feedback, very tough hiring bars. It's not easy. So what is causing this? Here we are talking about AI. So sharing all the information first. But the other day I was thinking about when was the last time I said to myself, let me Google it. Have you thought about that? When was the last time you really said, let me Google it? Peter said yesterday. He did it. Okay. But somehow it becomes, let me ask ChatGPT. So my question is, if our daily habit already changed, how come job is not changed? So for sure it will change, right? So AI stages, we have 3. Okay. The first stage is called reactive AI. So AI will help us do tasks faster and cheaper. So within this stage, which is we are in right now, about 14% of the jobs will be automated. Okay. Second stage is predictive. So predictive means AI will do recommendation and they will do decision making for you. So for example, your forecasting, your pricing, your business intelligence. So around 32% of the jobs, they won't disappear, but they will change significantly. This is where we really need to reskill. From the research, by 2027, 1 in 2 employees will have to reskill. And I will have to say reskill is not company's responsibility, it's our responsibility, right? Stage 3, we call agentic, right? So, which means AI can do end-to-end work without us. And this puts 40% of the operational admin work at risk. And guess how long until we get there? Any guess? How many years? How many months? 50 years? No? So it most likely start from 2030. So 5 to 10 years time. So it's very, very close to us, right? So with all this, what we can do and what we see in the market is what we call rehumanization, okay? So we are seeing a big shift in how companies assess talent. In the past, especially during the growth years, companies are basically buying your experience. When they are buying your experience, the assessment goes into assessing your hard skills. So 50% of the questions come from your experience, how much you can value add to us, right? 30% interpersonal skills, what we call culture fit, and 20% are motivational questions. So because we're buying candidates, so candidates don't really think about hygiene, don't really think about motivational questions. They think about hygiene questions, which means, is the job bigger? Is the salary higher? Do I have more people underneath of me to support my work? Right? This is back in the day. But today, there's a shift. Hard skills is 20%. Shocking. Because AI can replace your hard skills. And also because the fast changing world, what you have done before may not be able to copy and paste your experience for today. What's happening past 5 years may not be able to apply to today. But motivations increase to 50. The company now, they are hiring not just because what you have done, they are hiring who you are willing to become. So we want the people to stay with us, not during the good times only, but also the hard times. So your attitude and your motivation will help you to stick with the company. Okay. So we say a lot of things. Of course, today, I also hope I can provide you some tips to take away. Okay. 3 things. Okay, number 1, be ready to have more face-to-face interview, in-person interaction. So we are seeing 50 to 100% increase. of the interview rounds and more face-to-face interactions. So work on your interpersonal skills, the in-person presence and authenticity, your charisma, right? We have colleagues sitting right across from each other, but they only communicate through their WhatsApp. Hey, do you want to have lunch? No, I don't. How many people you have lunch with other people? Let's ask Jane Z. Okay. Second, to be able to think without AI and to be ready for on-spot study, case study. If we take away ChatGPT and your marketing assistant, are you able to finish a presentation in 30 minutes and present? So if I can encourage you, one thing is to go back to the basic of your job, to practice your own judgment and logic. Okay, number 3, know your motivation. More interviews are focusing on the why, not just what or how. Okay, do a little bit more on your inner work. Know why you want the job, not just because you are qualified. Okay, so yes, the future can be uncertain, but we must take away 3 things, right? We don't have to have everything figured out. We just need to be willing to learn, to show up, and do all of it again tomorrow. So thank you everyone today again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your session. And by the way, I am Taiwanese.
台湾妹来的，阿美族的吗？我不知道。Thank you, Jessie, for the very informative session. So to continue where Jessie left off, we will now have our panel discussion. Let us welcome back on stage Jennifer as the moderator, and also Ms. Zoe Tong, our business leader for HRnet.
Hello again. First, let me start by introducing Zoe.
Hi.
Zoe Tong, very young person, is our business leader at HRnet, like octopus and automate. So it's called HRnet.
Yes, that's right.
She happens to be born in October.
That is
And-
actually the real reason why.
And she works like an octopus. Okay, Zoe is the founder of HRnet, which is our HR tech business unit. HRnet is a one-stop and non-stop workforce management solution that does employee onboarding, payroll, leave, instant pay, instant claims, and rostering. HRnet has clients in various sectors, including technology, retail, automotive, in both the private companies as well as the government sector. So now I'm going to start our conversation, starting with Jessie. Jessie, it sounds like the more technologically advanced we become, the more decision makers look to connect with the real human. And the more automated we become, the more we look for authenticity, for human relationship and trust. Can you share with us what you, as a senior executive search consultant, is experiencing within HRnet One in terms of the use of AI? Does it scare you?
It does at the beginning. So my experience with HRnet was back in 10, 11 years ago, I used to spend 2 hours to finish a candidate profile report. But fast forward to today, we have an internal tools. It's called Hive, Hive. So it actually helped me to save a lot of time. 1 week, I can save about 13 hours. But of course, I wish to save more.
13 hours?
Yes.
What do you do with 13 hours that you save? Long lunch break, lapan.
I wish.
你在做什么？
I wish I can have more time to talk to the candidate.
Talk,
You
talk,
know?
talk, talk, talk.
Yes.
Yes.
Have more quality conversation. The more people that you meet, the higher chance you can close a position, right? And higher ROI. Higher.
Right. higher ROI. Paul means higher revenue for HRnet Group. Okay. Right. Let me now move the attention to Zoe, who lives and breathes technology for a living. Zoe, HRnet recently won some recurring contracts or significant recurring contracts. Can you talk about how you're responding to AI driving your tech-based business? Keep it simple, okay? We are all laymen, huh?
So you see me smiling at you, right? Because this is actually one of the most common questions that we get from our clients today. And in almost every meeting that we go to, clients are asking us, how are you using AI in HRnet to make our lives easier, right? So truth be told, if you had access to my ChatGPT account, you have seen that I once asked my favorite friend for my answer to this question so that I could put the key points on a pretty slide. So about the points they gave were very logical and well written. It wasn't very fully contextualized and had to use it as a baseline to make it more relatable for us. So I guess in the same color, this is also exactly how our clients are using AI in HRnet, where we give them a good baseline to start from, and then they make it more relatable for them.
Very chim leh. Simi si baseline, simi si contextualize.
So I give an example lah. So we have a client called Upward Bound Singapore, also known as OBS, where we are working with them on AI rostering. So I'm sure most of you here would have either went through OBS or heard about them at some point in time. But basically what they do, right, is they run outdoor camps and make people do very difficult things like jumping off a jetty, rock climbing, adventure-based training camps so that you can build resilience, you can build your grit so that you don't give up when you face obstacles in life. So in order for them to run these camps, they need to schedule their pool of instructors very efficiently. So sound pretty straightforward, right?
You're also complicated. Put in a spreadsheet, can already.
Yeah, that's what you always do, right? So actually our clients' instructors, they have very different things that they are good at. So for example, Jennifer, you could be a kayaking level 1. Jessie, you could be a, rock singer. No, just kidding. You could be a, kayaking level 5, and I could be a canoeing level 3. So to run different camps at different places, you need to have a different mix of these skills. So you need to mix and match to make sure that, these camps can be operated efficiently. I mean, still sounds quite simple, right, Jennifer? But this is actually just one condition out of the 20 or 30 conditions that they go through their mind to plot out their roster for the whole year. So given this, previously they actually used about a few weeks to generate the roster for one full year. So with AI, do you want to have a guess how long they take to generate a full year's worth of roster?
Last time 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
This time 2-3 days can?
Can. So with our AI program, which is developed by humans and not AI, by the way, in fact, the team is seated somewhere in the audience, we can now help them generate an annual roster within 15 minutes, 15. So imagine you just click a button, you go to Ya-Kun or Toast Box, get a cup of kopi peng. After you come back, right, the coffee is still there, the ice has not melted, your roster is done. Not to say that this is a perfect software or perfect system, but it helps to cut out the bulk of the roster of the tedious work so that the team can focus on having longer lunch breaks, like Jessie, and focus on making minor refinements to make it work. Yeah, Peter didn't hear that, don't worry.
15 minutes to do something that used to take 2 to 3 weeks to do. How I wish my finance department can close 45 set of accounts within 15 minutes. Then I can go for a long lunch break also.
We can all go together. Just kidding. So actually, I understand that we currently have some AI projects internally for finance to actually optimize some of these workflows. Do you want to elaborate more on that?
Of course, we have to embrace AI. Don't know, also must learn, right? So in my finance department, we actually have been adopting AI. Some of the kids actually went on to use ChatGPT to speed up writing Excel macro to make their work more efficient and effective. And the latest we have been doing is to develop an application that can get AI to read through hundreds of pages of contracts and agreements in order to extract critical data to validate about 80% of our billing process. So that cuts down a lot of our accountants' work.
Then do they cut away also the accountants?
Not yet lah, tan kuku lah. Don't know tan how ku. because AI is not there yet. So human intervention is still very necessary to teach the machine and to adjust the implementation according to human behavior. There'll be people who are very resistant to change. So we have to encourage buy-in, we have to encourage adoption. And those are real obstacles in real life that AI will not tell you. Our existing headcount is still required for the work that we do, but the scope and nature of the work is gradually shifting the task towards more of problem solving at a people-to-people interaction level, and we shift some towards doing strategic initiative. You know? Okay. So what do we have here is a question that a lot of people have been asking us. And Jessie, I'm going to arrow you on this one. Is AI really duplicating jobs, replacing jobs, transforming jobs, or simply reshaping jobs?
What do you think? I think it is all of the above. But most importantly is I don't think AI will replace our jobs, but the people who knows how to use AI will.
People who use AI might replace our jobs. Okay. Right. I just want to share a little story. Last weekend, I went to the post office, Christmas time coming. So I went to post a little Christmas present to my cousin in the UK. Counter staff point to me, hey, scan this QR code. She take the package, weigh, and write 0.164 grams on a piece of paper. Then she take the package and measure the dimension and write on another piece of paper. Then she passed me, hey, go to him. Pass me to a colleague and guide me through the mobile app. And then say, use the information on these 2 pieces of paper, go through the whole process on the mobile app. The whole thing took me 20 minutes. 2 human staff, 1 mobile app, 2 pieces of paper, and a process that went back and forth between 2 human staff. All these things could have been done within 10 minutes. 2 ways. One is you build a damn good intuitive mobile app, right? The idiot proof, idiot also can use one. Another one is simply have a nice personal service by 1 person, finish it, 10 minutes.
Or the third option, right? Automate should just go and work for the post office and implement our system there.
Yeah, please go and get another recurring revenue contract. Okay. But to be fair, I must say that technology adoption at our post office is still at its infant stage. Let us give it time, and we will see improvements, and we will see people gradually adjusting to technology. Singapore is already very, very much ahead of many countries in developing ourselves into a smart nation. The earlier we start, like it or not, the more we will progress in digitalization, cannot see one, to where it will become part of everyday life. So in closing, my take for now is this. To 3 groups of people, as organizations, we have to embrace AI as a tool. As employees, those people who still have to make a living, we have to upskill and reskill to do more than using AI to replace Google, to use for beyond just data crunching, beyond just repetitive work. And as headhunters and recruitment consultants, we have a job to rehumanize the consulting process for 2 purposes, for 2 groups of people. One group of people to help candidates get ready for greater and deeper human interaction so that we can be authentic and still get the job. Second one, to help companies look for talents that have the attitude and the mindset that Jessie was talking about, to continuous learning, adaptation, and constantly evolving. But above all, as a fellow human being, I want to encourage everyone to spend time that is freed up by AI to engage with people, build relationships, the more we automate and use AI, the more we need to personalize, to socialize, to be authentic, because relationships need physical gesture, need facial expression. You need to see the smile, the reaction of the other people. Moments of silence. When people don't speak, there is meaning. Body language, all part and parcel of human communication. And even learning about AI, how to use DeepSeek, how to use Gemini, how to use Gemini to paint a nice picture. All these can also be done through in-person social interactions where our colleague, our friend shares with us and influence us. This is indeed an exciting age. That's all we have for today, and I hope you take away something that is meaningful to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, our panelists, for the very invigorating conversation. Okay, now, the moment that all of us have been waiting for. You will now see a QR code being flashed on the screen. Simply download the Poem Mobile 3 app and scan this QR code to redeem your special stock coupon. So for those who do not have an account with Poems yet, don't worry. You may download the app first and proceed to the counter outside for assistance. Please note, the stock coupon is only available today and redemption is limited to the first 100 people. So there's a catch. Quickly download. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take out the QR code. I see all the cameras being whipped out. Are we good? Don't worry, there'll be people from Poems who assist you in redeeming the coupon after this. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the event this evening. Thank you for your presence today, be it here at SGX or over Zoom. We sincerely appreciate your time and patience today. I believe each of us will leave tonight not just being inspired, but also confident in the way we shape our work, the future of our work, more intentionally and in a more human way. Please feel free to visit the Poems booth outside and enjoy the networking session after this. See you all again at the next HRnet Group event. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you and goodbye.
Everybody, dance out. It's like everybody, gets it all along. Everybody, sing like a song.